Welcome to the Founders Focus podcast, an open conversation with TechCore founder Gary Beach and those who care about the future of technology. For more than 25 years, TechCore has worked to ensure K through 12th grade students in the United States have equal access to technology programs, skills, and resources that enhance early learning and prepare them for college or career. Founders Focus invites you along for the journey as we examine technology and how it impacts the way we work and live.
Today, our guest on Founders Focus is Remesi Perez. Remesi is a 2020 graduate of the highly acclaimed John Marshall School of Information Technology in Cleveland, which is the first high school in the state of Ohio to focus solely on computer science. Remesi participated in TechCore's web development program in 2018 and 2019. This summer, he returns to the program as an instructor and will further his education this fall at Cuyahoga Community College, where he's enrolled in a web design certification program. Our second guest today is Kasey Wilson. Kasey participated in Student Web Corps when she was a junior in high school in 2013. While an undergrad at Ohio Dominican University, Kasey worked as an instructor in a variety of TechCore programs. Kasey is the first woman and African American to earn a computer science degree from Ohio Dominican University. She is currently employed as a software engineer at JP Morgan Chase. So let's get started. Web design is a fascinating discipline blending creativity and technical skills. Students can pursue technology careers through different pathways, including four-year degrees, technology training, and you chose industry certification. Who were the primary influencers in your life so far that have led you to pursue this certification in web design?
A big influence on me was my mom, obviously. She just helped me through, just get through all my decisions, and her main focus was just to make sure I was in school, no matter what way I did it. So last year I made a big decision and chose to take a break from school. And she supported me throughout the whole thing, but all she asked for was just for me to continue my education somewhere. So it led to me to think about what should I have done, or what can I still pursue? What chance do I have, basically? And first thing I thought of was the internship, and I know I reminded myself that I had 2 summers of experience of web design. So I might as well just take it further and get a certificate in that field.
Was that web design, was that part of the TechCore program?
Yes, it was. So the whole program was based on web design and basically teaching us how to build a website from scratch. And that field has always been a passion for me, just anything technology related. Back then I was big on YouTube and the media and entertainment and all that. So it all connects in a certain way, because with web development, I'll be able to, there's a possibility for me to start a brand and to create my own website for that.
Well, it certainly sounds like the sky's the limit for you, Remesi. Now, Kasey, tell us a little bit about what it was like for you growing up at home. What were the events and activities that sparked your interest in technology?
My dad specifically was one of the homes on the road who, as he grew, and his interest in technology as a employee at Pioneer, and he was able to expose me to having different types of computers in the house, as well as being able to have the opportunity to see him have the excitement in taking down computers, putting them back up from scratch. A lot of his time home was spent doing so.
And you were very fortunate to have a dad in the tech industry who you showed you the way, so to speak, and brought all those wonderful toys home that you could put apart and put back together again. Remesi, during your student web corps experience, what did you learn about yourself and enjoy that that made you say, I want to go further with this? How did Student Web Corps impact the trajectory of your career aspirations?
What I learned about myself mostly was that I have the ability to be a leader and to lead a team. I was able to pick up on it very quickly, and we ended up getting through the whole program with me as a leader, and I think it went well the first year.
If you had to define the term leader, what goes into being a leader in your mind?
Being a leader for the Student Web Corps, it's mostly just making sure your team's okay, communicating, making sure everyone's doing their task, making sure we're meeting the deadline, talking to the clients, making sure they're okay with what we're doing so far. Just basically keeping everything organized and making sure our team is working good and there's no problems within our program.
It really sounds like you have a firm understanding of leadership. Now I want to turn to Kasey for a minute. Kasey, you really worked hard and accomplished so much. How do you hope to use your skills and talents to lift up the next generation of technology professionals?
I would hope to accomplish being able to help with other communities of young African American men and women who have a desire or grow up in very disadvantaged communities and don't understand the opportunity where as you go to a more advantaged community, in order for it not to be intimidating, we need programs like TechCorps out there to get them exposed so they realize it's something that they too can reach out for and accomplish themselves. Because with confidence, which is one of the things that I really have pulled in my understanding through TechCorps, is a value. You have people who are giving grants to help further the need instead of taking on a job that you might do and have the time just to make the little money or ends meet. You are learning, you have an opportunity, and that itself has been a blessing, and it intrigues young minds because it's far beyond an understanding of, hey, it's a job. No, you are learning on the job, and there are not as many opportunities out there for that. So I believe that giving back is my duty.
I hope you realize that you're a pioneer. I mean, look what you've accomplished. The first woman, the first African American who got a computer science degree at Ohio Dominican University. That in itself is outstanding. And what challenges did you face at the university level in the computer science program?
Well, I was a class of 5, the only African American and female, as you've stated. And then we had a multicultural affairs office, but none of them could understand the complexity of what I would go through academically, and be able to speak to me, because it's something that is far different than being in a class where you see more people, let's say that look like yourself, or having support from other people around you who can say they've had that journey too, and more like not being a lab rat, but being one of the first. So it is kind of a lab rat position to understand.
You'll always be the first woman and African American student who graduated with a CS degree.
Yes.
Forever.
Yes, sir. And that is something I would say it's a blessing, because the software engineering community at Ohio Dominican was so new that there were only a couple people to support us, which were 2 professors. I've only had 2 professors.
Doesn't that sound cool? A software engineer?
It is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool title to have, because it's not something that is straightforward to see. You have to really understand how complex that title can be, because there's so many positions and jobs and offers and opportunities behind being a software engineer, yet having the education to back it up. But when I would love to say, if a young person were to come up to me and say something similar and say, you are a software engineer, what does that mean? I would pretty much say it's being dedicated to persevere and really work hard to achieve a certain something. So in the technological field, that means being able to take a task and try your very best, but being able to learn as you go, because it's such an innovative field. And it's very important that they understand you're going to have a lot of mobility, and you're going to have to understand that things constantly change. So you can't get comfortable, and it's not something that for people who like comfort can understand, but they can understand that, hey, that job is so different because all they do all day is sit behind a computer. That's what most think, but that's not true at all.
Zeros and ones.
Right, zeros and ones, the byte code, and it's not just taking apart a computer and putting it together. No, a software engineer is a more complex and broad term, yet it matches the field. So going into a field of computer science and software engineering takes perseverance, and it takes a young mind who is willing to follow through and stick to it.
Exactly. The technology industry needs more minds like yours, Kasey. Now, Remesi, I want to ask you, how has TechCore helped to shape your career aspirations?
Doing TechCore basically just reminded me that I always take chances on everything, because obviously TechCore was an option for me, and I ended up taking it, and I never regret it to this day. So TechCore honestly helped me just dabble in a little bit of everything, to just see what my future career could be. Not sure yet what my future career would be right now, but like I said, just dabbling in everything would probably help, and TechCore helped me do that.
Oh, that's good to hear. In your opinion, quickly, at what grade level should public school curriculum introduce computer science across America?
When they're young, instead of giving them a toy that speaks to them, give them something that has several buttons and eventually can be programmed. Because if they want to change the light color, it's so simple. They can use, like TechCore does, have the tablets and the robots where you can program it. Eventually they get so excited about this one toy, they get to learn that it has so much more to it than just touching a certain button or it's speaking back to them. They can control it. And that's pretty much what the technology field is controlling the future. It's in our own hands, but we have the opportunity, just like a scientist who goes out and really understands the space and what space is about, and the different planets and how the stars, their life and how they got to those conclusions is the same way that a person in the technology field who engineers from starting at a very young age can really reach out to try to solve or to bring value to and create something so different that it's innovative for the next person.
In my opinion, I believe third grade would honestly be a great start point.
Why is that?
Because with my experience, in third grade, that's when we started learning like cursive and stuff like that. And when we were first introduced to like the computer lab and being able to work on computers. So I feel like if they can teach us to use a different form of writing, why not add a different form of communication also with computers? And why not start them early when they first get access to computers?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And when you think about it, you mentioned cursive in third grade.
Yeah.
That literacy reading literacy skills, probably first, second grade.
Yeah.
Certainly those are still important, but maybe digital literacy skills should be taught, like you said, they're a third grade or a bit earlier. What do you think would change if all kids, you had this incredible opportunity to go to one of the few high schools in the country that are totally dedicated to IT. What would happen if all kids, you think, in our country had equal opportunities like this in their schools?
I feel like, especially for like minorities and people like me, I think it'll be a better opportunity for them. And John Marshall is a very diverse school, which I can appreciate. Also, there was not a majority of the same race in there, and it was honestly great to see.
Kasey, for this last question, what advice would you give the young people who are listening? What advice would you give students who are just getting started with TechCore today? How could they really enhance that experience? What should they do?
So as an instructor, I told many of my students to really appreciate the opportunity that they currently have in front of them. At first, it starts with appreciating what's there, because not everybody is given that opportunity or gets exposed to it. So when you appreciate it, you really open your mind to understand that there's so much to learn from this experience. And it is what you put in it and what you want to learn and what you want to know, because I didn't expect that call 2 years, 3 years down the road to say, hey, can you work for us? And
we'll actually pay.
So,
Kasey, listening to that comment, you just warmed my heart. 26 years ago, when we were fortunate enough to start TechCore, just to imagine young women like yourself having it impact their lives, it just makes my day and week and year and what have you. So ready, but get a mentor, and then be a mentor. You're doing both, really, but it's so mentors are so important.
They are what would you say, vital to have, because without it's they say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know as well. So if you know someone who can help you get and navigate through something, or at least give you an experience, you'll have more of an idea, because sometimes there is no foundation where you are. All it is really self-learning and being self-aware. But sometimes that can lead you to a place that you did not or was not intended. So it's important to have someone who can open your eyes to that and share their wisdom. That's important. That's the importance as we live as well.
It certainly is. I have one last question for you, Remesi. In your experience, first as a TechCore student and now as an instructor, how has it changed your life? And would you recommend TechCore? And if you would, tell me a little bit about why.
It changed my life because I think it solidified that I wanted to do or I wanted to go in this type of field. And I recommend it to everyone, honestly. If you have the opportunity, I say take it, because it's something it's something you can regret, but it's something you can get out of. So it's like, and why not take the opportunity if you're not comfortable with it? Like, get comfortable with it and learn something new, because you never know when you could use that, or you never know if it's something that could be your future career.
But Remesi Perez, a proud graduate of the John Marshall School of Information Technology, a student technology core, student web core instructor, upcoming Cuyahoga Community College student, and future star web developer. Thanks for joining us today. Kasey Wilson, former TechCore instructor and student, the first woman to earn a computer science degree at Ohio Dominican University, and as we heard, a software engineer at one of the world's largest financial institutions, JP Morgan Chase. Kasey, thank you for sharing your thoughts today with us. And thanks to our audience for joining us on our inaugural podcast. In our next podcast, we're going to focus on corporate America's role in changing the landscape of the technology industry, including all things in terms of technology, diversity, soft skills, technical skills, what are needed to get a job in this business. We invite you to subscribe to the Founders Focus on Podbean. To learn more about TechCore, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at TechCore US. I'm Gary Beach, founder of TechCore. Thank you for joining us all today.